Well, the Redcat Ascent made a splash, didn't it, when it came out? Fairly affordable rig, but it's not in Australia yet. That means the Redcat Ascent Fusion is going to be even longer. Lucky I got one in the first production run. I understand they're even on back order now and not expected next until early May, so hooray. Of course, being in Australia, I had to spend just under US $600 total to get this thing, but I'm still going to review this thing as if it is the $400 crawler that most of you watching will pay for such a thing when you can get one. There's a lot to see on this, there's a bit to say about it. I've had it here on my property for about 2.5 hours so far, and I've only just started looking at it. I see some interesting geometry going on here. I didn't even know this thing was carbon fiber. I've really gone out of my way to know nothing about the rig. I just ordered it as soon as it came out because I wanted to give you guys an experiential perspective, because I knew I'd be weeks behind everyone else who's already going to get the thing and review it and whatnot. Now, you guys know I'm a fan of Redcat if you've been around the channel for a while. I have several Redcat rigs and I like what they do. This is an interesting one. We'll get to it in a future video. So today we're going to get straight onto the rocks. We're going to look at how it crawls, and the next video, when we look at the thing like a proper review, we can also discuss maybe why it crawled the way it crawled, however that is. All I can tell you now is there's a lot going on above this front axle. I don't think I've got any crawler where the shocks are mounted on top of the axles. We also have a panhard here with chassis mounted servo, and it looks like a decent servo. But I see the panhard's on the left hand side, and yet the upper link is on the left hand side as well, which tells me we're going to get a bit of bumps here. Yeah, we do. Not much, mind you, but with what, 14 mils of travel, it's not particularly pronounced. I think if we had longer front suspension, it'd be more pronounced. You don't necessarily need long front suspension, particularly if the rest of your car is well sorted. There are no bent rear links, which is an odd choice given this is such a interestingly designed thing from a comp point of view, but we do have portals. Look, we'll get into all the features later. Suffice to say, the Ascent Fusion has an 1800 kV Fusion in it, which means it's 2 and 3S compatible. Got these mild steel bumpers on it with fair leads built in. The top pops off with just 2 body pins, one of which I've already lost in my rocks here. Oh, and I meant to say also, I noticed single stage foams, which is another odd choice given the apparent performance oriented design of this thing. But it certainly looks pretty cool. I'm digging the red and black. This is a FlySky radio, but I'm not familiar with it other than being able to tell you it's a FlySky. There's a 3-position switch here, and then a press button, and I've got a 3S 700 milliamp hour battery. Universal axles. See how the axles are notching like that? That tells you we're pretty close to the maximum amount of travel the thing can handle. Yeah. So the endpoints are nicely set out of the box, and being a Fusion, FOC, field oriented control, beautifully smooth. I'm sure there are videos that have already talked about this. Again, I've gone out of my way to know nothing. I want to just see how it drives with no preconceived bias about it. Let's do it. Okay, problem 1. Very first time it's driven, the tyres are clean. Now, although I had to pay nearly $600 US to get this thing with mail forwarding and whatnot, I'm still going to review it like the US $400 truck that it is. Despite being a carbon fibre frame, she's got a bit of weight to her, but it articulates nicely, doesn't it? I don't even know if there's overdrive in it. I assume there is. That would be the purpose of the review. There shouldn't be body touching though. We'll need to cut that back. Out of the box, I'm surprised that's present. But nonetheless, very smooth. I saw brass on that front axle too. Here, we'll just keep going. I'll come around so the sound's good. Straight into problem 2. Straight lower rear links, an interesting choice, but with portals and the 4.7-inch tyres, yeah, we're probably good. Now there's not much squish going on in those tyres, so I can see why single foams are probably okay. Well, there's the squish. So the carcass of the tyre is actually doing quite a bit of the heavy lifting here. The foam's not so much. Yeah, that moves nicely. I like that. Beautiful. I've always been a fan of Hobbywings FOC too. Into problem 3. I am surprised we're getting tyres touching that body. Minor minor fix of just pulling it back. Look at that, straight up. I wouldn't mind bent rear links, although we haven't had a problem with that yet. Only the skid bellied out there, and it was only minor, wasn't it? Easy. Okay, we'll take a slightly different view of problem 4, probably what I should have been doing all along. Now this will be interesting. Gosh, I'm happy to see steel universals in those front axles. The articulation, the steering angle. Not too sold on metal diff covers, as anyone who comps knows they can snag on rocks. Always preferred Delrin or nylon or even plastic, but it works. I don't know how much it weighs. It's heavier than I thought it would be, but still very light compared to other rigs of its size. Bring the camera around. That's optimistic, isn't it? But I think we'll be fine. Now, Traxxas Canyon Trails are 4.6 inch tires. Many crawlers come with 4.75 outer diameter. These are 4.7. And being single stage foams, they're fairly soft, so you can't rely on it necessarily being able to press to get yourself out of trouble like this. Also, the steering stalled then. We maxed out the steering. Let's give that another go. Ooh, it steers nicely. Now, the drag brake rate is too low for my liking. In fact, I'll show you now. It's you can actually see how it ramps up. Like it doesn't just like, I like it to snap. I like it to snap stopped. That's personal preference though. So this is not anything wrong with the car. And the programming port is right in front of the button. You just need a 1080 programming card. I didn't even notice if it came with one. I literally pulled this out of the box, took care of some fatherly duties, and then got out here to see what it's like on the rocks. I've really been looking forward to it. I see adjustment points there, different mounting points for the rear links. That's cool. Some people may be surprised by how short those front shocks are. Park it back there because it's getting there easily. Yeah, some people may be surprised by how short those front shocks are, but truthfully, having great articulation in the front is not really necessary. It's the rear where it can be helpful, but even then, limiting it is not a bad thing. Even your Vanquish shocks are quite short. They're not this short. But there's nothing wrong with short shocks per se, as long as the geometry works well. Speaking of geometry, it is a strange thing. There's no room with that motor there for that top link to be on the other side like it should be. So perhaps flipping the servo, changing the side that's on, and also then, I'm pretty sure I saw holes there for the panhard at the top. Don't know if they're on the axle as well. No, they're not. That's a shame. So we can't even flip the panhard. So you're kind of stuck with this geometry. I was thinking how to fix it, but look, there's just a lot going on. Here we go, we'll get it now. There's a lot going on above these front axles. But, gosh, FOC makes up for a lot. The servos could be stronger, but it's the best one that Hexfly have for RTR stuff as far as I'm aware. Now at this point I'm pretty confident we're going to get all 6 out. Although, it will come down partly to its manners on the breakover at the top of 6. But anyway, this is 5. Straight down, those interesting steel fair lead / bumpers. Putting in some work there. I don't mind these tyres. Of course, they're not worn in or anything like that. Here, we're just going to stop. There we go. Yeah, the braking's fine. The rate's a bit slow. You could see even as it settled. Like when you let go, it kind of just watch this. It rolls back. There. See, there's like a slight roll back before it stops. That's just how quickly it ramps from rolling to being completely stopped to like your drag brake setting. So the drag brake rate, I personally like turned up a bit more. I am surprised there's body contact here. It shouldn't be like that. We've got to trim that. This is problem 6. This is the one I'm not sure about. Let's find out. It is well composed. Side hilling's not bad. That brass on the end of the front axle's definitely helping. portals tend to work against you there, but it's not bad, is it? Not going to get up there. Nope. Need a different line for this guy. Now, do I see adjustable shocks? I don't think they're adjustable. Again, I've gone out of my way to learn nothing about this because I wanted to just show you this car without having any preconceptions about it. Obviously, its design tells you that they're going for a functional crawler. No, it's just not clearing that. But look, the other thing to keep in mind here is tires and even just foams can make or break a crawler. They really, really can. Oop. And if I put Vanquish's cheaty 4.75 5.09 VXT2s on this thing, you would see a very differently behaved crawler, and I think we'd already be over this rock. That's not to say these tires are bad, it just means you need to drive the car a bit differently. We're going to go left and then hoik it right now. That's left and right, there we go. And up we are. So that was pretty easy. Not the easiest, but pretty good. We'll get into this truck properly next video. A couple of quick things though. This feels very much like the other FlySky radios that come with other Redcat cars, or at least came with. I love that it's a 4-channel. It feels comfy in the hand. I always prefer steering trim knobs, but I mean, they're buttons, who really cares? There's no beeper in this thing. There is an LED in the front, interestingly. I just noticed that literally just then. How's that work? Blind button? Nope. Oh, okay. I just noticed this then. There's an LED button for a little torch. What a great idea. What a great idea. And it's a really low power, like this is a 20 milliamp hour LED, so it's not going to eat your power. What a useful little thing, and it's right there. It's such a simple feature, but that's a killer feature, seriously. I love that. It's the RTX-4C. This is the protocol, which means these are the receivers. Fingers crossed it's AFHDS too, because that'd be great. Now, a couple of things just from my initial run. This shouldn't happen. So it's an easy fix. You just cut the body back. Done. But that shouldn't happen. I lost one of these body pins. That was my fault. It goes on easily. These steel front and rears are kind of heavier things than I would expect to see on a comp-ish style crawler. I'll tell you what, one thing that actually I'm thinking about doing, I want a tray for this so that I can make it comp friendly, because in our CCA rule set, you need a rear tray, you can't just have naked chassis. I reckon a cantilever shock kit would let you have a nice flat tray, because you can't actually have like a tray that even has the hoops coming through like that, to my memory. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So we can do some stuff about that. I actually have some laid down cantilever shocks lying around. These things are already scratched. They were getting in the way on the rocks a little bit. I'd greatly prefer, see the scuff from the rock? I'd really prefer if these were plastic, but I mean, they look really cool in that anodized color. I'm not really sold. Oh, look, even the motor plate's carbon fiber. They've gone to town on this thing. And I like that it's 32 pitch. Looks like, what, an 11 tooth? I don't know. It felt good on the rocks. I was surprised to feel some stall in that servo. It didn't get warm though, so perhaps I'll have to look. I need to plug in a programming card. You can do that. The button's just back in here. Can't really see it, but it's behind the front right wheel. There's a little rubber gasket you can kind of lift out, and you can plug the 1080 programming card into that. I want the drag brake rate turned up, and I want to look at the voltage that's going to this servo and see what it and the radio are compatible with, because if they both take 8.4, crank them up. You'll benefit from that. With so much going on top of the axle, I can understand why they haven't got behind the axle steering. There's also not really room to move this drag link up, so it does get in the way. It's already covered in scratches. That I would like to see fixed, although I don't know how to fix it. There's really so much going on top of this axle. Another thing I noticed that's weird is the pinion angle coming out of this thing. is kind of low. It shouldn't be on that angle. So I wouldn't mind, I think it's called clocking. You can clock the axle angle forward. That would actually help on ascents and stuff too. Like clocking it forward just 10 degrees, that will be better for the pinion. How do we do that? We can lengthen the upper link or shorten the lower links, these weird sideways lower links. Why they're not just up like that, I suppose it's drive shaft clearance. No, they still clear everything. Although it makes that more exposed, so perhaps that's the reason. It's an odd choice to have bent links there, but I'm not criticizing, I'm just observing. I also see these rear links aren't bent, and seeing how they're all scratched up to about there from my kind of peaky course here, bent rear links wouldn't be a bad idea. You can also mount them up. There's one extra mount hole, you can go higher. Overall, it's quite a heavy car for what it is. Now the Fusion system actually is a weighty beastie, and easily, like I'm preparing for the Nationals at the end of this month, April 2024, and I think all my comp cars are now running brushless outrunners because they're so light, those little short jiggers. The Fusion brings a lot of mass. It's nice that it's got the receiver in there. Sorry, the ESC. Oh, there you go. So the receiver's 3.5 to 8.4 volts, 4-channel. Very nice indeed. So we pull out this little rubber thingy and then you can program that sucker. It's very tidy in here. The stickers are different on this motor to what you get out of the box when you buy a Fusion, but it's nice. Interesting that the gearbox is up front. Very simple. I mean, it's not even a gearbox, it's just a pinion and a spur. Transfers back there. Let's have a look. I want to know about this. We've got reverse rotating drive shafts. Do we have, I'm sure that we have overdrive. So let's see. Inch is at the top and the back of the arrow is at the top. Bring the inch all the way around to the top again. And where's the back of the arrow? It looks to me like maybe 12% overdrive. That's good, I'd like more, but any overdrive is better than no overdrive. My preference for comps these days is something in the low 30s, I think. Is about where I've settled it, being quite happy with. And there you have it. 6 problems approved. Should be in Australia by 2025, fingers crossed. It's already obviously in the US, and I saw on their website, they're out of stock now till early May. So congratulations Redcat on launching a very capable crawler out of the box. This price point, $400, puts it $100 less than the Stance out of the box, which is, I think, the most capable RTR crawler so far. But this is not terribly far behind it, and I think with some tweaking with these tires, dual stage foams, or I'm also developing some TPU inners to replace the foams. I've been working on these for quite a bit this last week, and we're making good progress. I haven't got any 4.7 ones yet, but I could. They could use a little bit of prevention of this happening, because this was a problem. Right, I've yammered on enough. Thank you for watching. Throw me a like. I've got a heap of stuff coming. We've got the VRD Carbon. I won't list them. There are so many vehicles, so many things to look at. Plus the Nationals at the end of this month. I'm leaving in just under 3 weeks. I'm a busy boy. Throw me a like. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you again next time on RC-TNT. Cheers.